Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday, working towards the weekend. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Saints continue their work in training camp. Luke Johnson's there. He'll be with us in 15 minutes. There has been an advancement in the information that we have about the lawsuit between Ole Miss and two of LSU's players, and I'm going to change my tune on that just a little bit based on Sam Hutchins' work earlier today up there in Mississippi. We'll do that in half an hour. Easton Royal knows where he's headed this fall. Not for school, for games. We'll talk about a little bit of that. Got some sound from Saints camp and what I'm going to be looking for when we get our next look at LSU this evening just after 6:30 on the Ponderosa. We'll get to that in hour number 2 as well. So plenty to get to here on this Thursday. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Let's get started with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
We talked about Sam Leavitt a good bit yesterday. I spent my entire time watching him, and I think he's the story early on in camp. But you heard me say what I say for 12 minutes. Lane Kiffin has seen him a lot of the summer and certainly saw everything that he did at practice yesterday. So why don't you listen to the head coach talk about him instead of me? So we'll go back to some of the sound from yesterday and Kiffin talking about Sam Leavitt being right on pace.
Like I said, I thought Sam had a great day today. And really, I don't look at it that he was really far behind because he did a lot of mental work, did a lot of throwing stuff in different situations, and even when he couldn't, move as well. So I think his progression's been really good, and I think he's right on pace. And
that's a bite we played for you yesterday, but it kind of sets the tone for what we're talking about here in this bite, and we'll get to some that we didn't play on yesterday's show. I think it's hard to tell if he's right on pace right now. That's just the outsider's position. If he hasn't been out there in 7-on-7 and specifically some real 11-on-11 stuff, I think it would be difficult to determine whether or not he's right on pace. But I will say this. One, Lane Kiffin knows a lot more about learning his offense than I do. And two, he's pretty much right on pace with what Trinidad Chambliss was last year, because Trinidad Chambliss didn't spend any time in the spring with Ole Miss last year, and Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. got him up to speed, and he was ready to go pretty much right out of the gate. I mean, look, you had Austin Simmons as the starting quarterback early on, but 2 weeks into this thing, Trinidad Chambliss was kind of piloting the ship. LSU played him in September, and Trinidad Chambliss was the quarterback. So that gives me some hope, even if I think that suggesting he's right on pace right now after one practice with nobody wearing pads doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. Now, Lane Kiffin was asked about his mobility. That's not something we got to see yesterday. He was stationary all of yesterday. The extent of what I saw him not walking was light jogs station to station. So Kiffin spoke to his mobility.
He looked really good. Sam's been moving around really well, and I wouldn't, if you just went out today and saw him, I don't think that you'd think there was an injury. I think he's all the way back from that. Now it's just getting up with the timing of everything.
I would agree with that based on the little bit that I saw for sure. Now, I did talk to a couple different media members who were like, didn't he kind of look a little bit gimpy? And I understood what they were talking about, but my retort was, I think that's just kind of his gait. He's got a little bit of a back and forth when he jogs. And if you turn on the highlight tape, put it on YouTube, he runs with this, he's not gliding. Like he's kind of a heavy-footed runner with some real athleticism. But it's part of his game. This is a guy who has run for north of 600, upwards of 800 yards for Arizona State, has ripped off big rushing plays, has picked up huge third downs, has gotten into the end zone. He is a dynamic runner, and Trinidad Chambliss was a dynamic runner for Ole Miss last year. At times, it was to create yards. At times, it was to extend plays. But Kiffin's offense depends on some athleticism from the quarterback. You don't have to be Michael Vick back there. You don't have to be Jaden Daniels back there. But you do have to move. You've got to be Jackson Dart. You've got to be Trinidad Chambliss. Blake Sims was an SEC wide receiver type. But you've got to be able to move. And Leavitt has been able to move. But the question is, can he do it moving forward? And I don't know if we have that answer today, but Lane Kiffin was asked yesterday, like, what's your confidence level calling a designed run for him?
Yeah, I don't know that I have that answer right now for you. I think that there's so much that goes into that, of the game plan of who you're playing, what defense they play, how's your running back or running backs running, what's the exact situation in the game. So that's too hard to answer. I think as you're hearing me talk, you probably get a feel for, like, we don't just do what we do. That's not how we run systems, programs, whatever. It's always evolving, changing to what is that team, what is the specific needs for who you're playing, all those things. So I can't even tell you at this time of year what the team's even going to look like, even what I know already, just because the variables that start to happen and injuries and things. And so I don't know that.
Now, the second bite we played you, I said, I'm not quite sure about that. That bite, I buy every word of. I'm still learning Kiffinese, okay? I'm still getting indoctrinated into Lane Kiffin's speak, right? I've got a pretty good handle on Will Wade's verbiage. Had that for 5 years here. I've got a pretty good handle on what Jay Johnson's trying to suggest. I think I had a pretty good handle for what Brian Kelly was doing after 4 years. I'm still learning on Kiffin, but that soundbite, I'm buying. Sometimes you need your quarterback in the run game. Maybe you're not winning at the line of a scrimmage. You need to win with another body as opposed to just being physical and knocking guys off. So you use the quarterback as an extra man so you can have more guys blocking up front. Sometimes you feel like there's a hole in a defense that you can exploit with the quarterback run. I would look at Blake Baker's defense 2 years ago, maybe even at times last year, where the quarterback run gave LSU fits. And if you're playing a team that looks like that, you may want to incorporate it. By the same token, if you don't feel very good at all about your backup quarterbacks, you're probably not going to put your quarterback in harm's way as often. If your running back is gashing the other team, why risk your quarterback? Plus, the running backs are better ball carriers anyway. There are a lot of variables that go into that, as to just say, hey, like, how good you feel about Levitt running for 6 yards right now? And I think that there will be some quarterbacks in the Kiffin era at LSU that are more dynamic runners that need to run more. There will be some quarterbacks he has that aren't as gifted there but have other strengths that he feels are best for the team, and they'll use those. That's been amplified over the course of Lane Kiffin's career as a play caller. He has had myriad different skill sets at the quarterback position, and they've all produced, maybe not in the exact same way. I would suggest that Jackson Dart, Trinidad Chambliss, Matt Corral, and Sam Levitt have a lot of fairly similar characteristics. I don't put them all in a small little keyhole, but like it's fairly similar. None of those guys possesses Jaden Daniels' mobility. None of those guys is that. But they're all about 6'1", 6'2". They're all pretty good runners. None of them, I would suggest, has an arm that's just going to blow you away at the NFL Combine, but it's good enough. They're just capable college quarterbacks. Now, Dart excelled and became a first-round pick. Corral was not. I don't think Chambliss is, and we'll see what Levitt becomes this year. But they're all fairly similar, and so you look at their running totals over the years, and you kind of expect that from Levitt. I think the thing for me is that I'm going to look at the first time he takes off against Clemson as a real watershed moment for my analysis of this team. Because as I told you yesterday, after our first look at this team for 12 minutes, I go, we're not going to see in this practice period, this viewing period, we're not going to see him move. We're not going to be able to report on that. And that's fine, but we're not. So the first time he takes off against Clemson and looks the part, I'll go, okay, that's what that's supposed to look like. If he doesn't, if he's hesitant to take off, or he stays back behind the line of scrimmage and surveys the field and ends up maybe throwing it away, I'll at this, by the same token, on the other side of things, go, I'd like to see him tuck and go there, right? I remember vividly watching Jaden Daniels in the Superdome against Florida State in his first LSU start, first game in the Brian Kelly era. And I remember him taking off on that first drive. Y'all remember he busted 2 big runs on that first drive. And he hit full stride, and I went, oh, he's not just like a mobile quarterback. He's like one of the most dynamic players on the field. He's got speed that can burn a linebacker to the corner. He's got speed that can separate and take it 50. That's different than mobile. And I saw that in person in the Superdome. I don't expect Sam Levitt to ever look like that because that's not his skill set. But I think I'll have a similar reaction when he takes off against Clemson and runs for 16 yards, if that should happen. I'll be sitting in the press box. I'll go, okay, that's an element that we know he had at Arizona State, that we know he did not have in the spring because he was hurt, that we didn't see in fall camp because they kicked us out of practice, but now it's there. Okay, and now I can analyze what this thing looks like. I'll be hesitant to do that until then, but I will tell you not to like throw cold water on this thing. Like I just don't know. So I can't declaratively state he's healthy. He looks healthy to me. The head coach is telling you he's healthy. I have no reason to believe there's some lingering issue. But I'm being cautious this August, as we were not last year to an extent that we should have been probably. And I'll just tell you that I know that he has it in there previously. I'm comfortable suggesting he should have it moving forward. I'm not confident enough to tell you he does have it until I see it, and I don't think I'm going to see it until Clemson. But look, Lane Kiffin did say it's the best he's seen Sam Levitt look.
I thought Sam had a great day today, really looked the best he's looked, and that was exciting to see. Looks like he's getting more comfortable with the receivers.
And I think that is about the passing part of it, right? It probably not about the running part of it because there wouldn't have been any pressure on him, and nobody's got pads on, and they can't hit him anyway. But I think that's about him throwing the football, seeing guys open, getting comfortable who's out there and who we throwing it to and where they need the football and those types of things. And this whole month is just going to be so critical for Sam Levitt to develop and become the quarterback that LSU needs to achieve the goals that I think most people are putting on them. Expectations, goals, they're all kind of blended into one. You're expected to try to make the playoffs here. And if you don't have a good and healthy Sam Levitt, you're not. If you have one, I think you got a shot. So one day in, we'll get another look at the Tigers tonight. That's at 6:30. We'll have a practice report up at LouisianaSports.net, and we'll certainly be talking about it on Friday's show. Thursday's show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Let's go down to Saints camp. Luke Johnson's been there for a week and a half. He'll join us next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci, the official bat of Major League Baseball. Say that again. The official bat of Major League Baseball, and they make it right here in Baton Rouge. Not in Kentucky. Not in Cooperstown. In Baton Rouge. And you can go see where they make the official bat of Major League Baseball right here in the city limits. 1,200 of them every single day, shipped off to the best players in the world. If you want to learn the story of how Marucci came to be, go take a tour. If you want to see where they make all those bats and ship them off, go check it out. And if you want to join the Hitter's House and take some of that Marucci lumber and take some swings, you can do that as well. It's all there at Marucci. Get tickets to the Hitter's House or the campus tour at MarucciSports.com. Join the Hitter's House. Become a member, and you get access to their cages 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's the official bat of Major League Baseball. It's Marucci online at MarucciSports.com.
Another roof gone too soon. Looks like neglect. There's no doubt about it. This is a case of poor installation. At Pelican Roofing, we don't guess. We investigate to find the real cause of your roof's problems. Call Pelican Roofing for your free roof investigation today. Case closed.
People think it's all about game day. Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts,
Extra reps. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
so we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
At Southern Classic Chicken, we take pride in serving the freshest, seasoned, and marinated hand-breaded fried chicken. Drive through today and pick up a family box or one of our classic combos and enjoy a true Southern Classic. Order online and download our loyalty app to start earning those crispy and juicy rewards. Loyalty matters.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-90.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is always brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I'm going to change my tune a little bit on LSU's, well, not LSU's, and the lawsuit that Ole Miss has filed against 2 LSU players. We'll do that coming up in 15 minutes. Let's talk some Saints. Luke Johnson's been all over it for NOLA.com and The Advocate. Joins us on Thursdays on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. You ready to spend the entire section talking about the Barry and Brown hype train?
I mean, we're spending a lot of time on the Barry and Brown hype train, and it is off the rails at this point. Mason Tipton's not out there, so it's got to be Barry and Brown. So tell me about it. What you seeing?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, he's just been a lot of fun, right? I mean, everybody who watched him at LSU last year knew what he brought to the return game, right? And you just kind of assuming that's going to be what he is as a pro, especially considering his frame. But man, he's been probably the best wide receiver in training camp so far. Look, we're talking about 7 days of training camp, right? And we haven't seen him in a game. But, I mean, today, he shut things down by making a 46-yard over-the-shoulder, great adjustment catch to end a 2-minute drill. And that's just like, I don't know, a third straight day we've seen him do something really impressive. And it's not just, one-on-ones. It's not 7-on-7 where, there's not like, a ton of people on the field. He's doing this stuff in team drills. It's really exciting, and I don't know what the role is going to be for him. It might be he's a 4th or 5th receiver, and he only gets a few opportunities. But if you're seeing this out of your 6th rounder, you feel pretty good about where he's at.
Yeah, look, Jalen Polk retires, and so that leaves a little bit of space on the roster, and then you feel like there are special team spots available as well. Like, where are you looking at the pecking order with the wide receivers this early in camp right now?
Yeah, I mean, early in camp, I'd put Barry and Brown as the number 4 right now. I think we've seen, frankly, a lot more out of him than we have out of Bryce Lance, which is, it's not a knock on Bryce Lance. He's 7 practices into his first training camp as a rookie. But I feel pretty good about where they're at 1 through 3, and if they're able to get anything out of Barry and Brown or Bryce Lance, you feel really, really good about the whole receiver room in its entirety. And that's not even counting guys who, I think have done some nice things. Kevin Austin, who's been on the team for a couple of years now, he's played, he's made big plays in real games that count. I think he's looked pretty solid. Ronnie Bell, who had the great one-handed touchdown catch in Week 18 last year. I think he's looked really good, and both of those guys I think are going to struggle to make the roster. This is just a deeper wide receiver core than really they've had in a while around here.
It's exciting because obviously last year it was lessened to almost nothing with the injuries and everything that went into last season. Tyler Shock, I gotta ask about him. I'm not going to bury the lead any further. Like, what's he looked like? He's the most important guy out there.
I think it's been up and down for him. Everything that you want to see from how the quarterback is operating the offense, I think has looked good. But in terms of the actual on-field performance, it's been kind of hit or miss, just being real. And I think a lot of people are going into this with really big expectations for Shuck, and I'm part of that. Like I have maybe the biggest expectations for him. But I think right now it's like the process of working a lot of new pieces in. He's doing a lot of stuff where he's throwing to the backs and the tight ends, and we haven't really seen him open it up yet. But today, even today, he threw 2 interceptions today, both in the end zone, and you can explain both of them away. One, he was trying to throw the ball away, and Kool-Aid McKinstry just made a great leaping pick, and the other was, very similar to Darian Brown's touchdown, where it's the last play of a 2-minute drill. They're down by 4, and he's just kind of chucking the ball out to the end zone. And Quincy Riley made a play on it. But, I still think it's just been uneven enough to where you're just like, okay, when are they going to start really stacking the days? Because, even though he threw the 2 picks today, he finished 11 of 14, that's not a bad day. But you just want to see the signs that he's really, really coming into his own going into year 2. I think we'll get there. It's just not there yet.
Well, you mentioned the 2 corners making a play. Let's do that thing we do in training camp or fall camp around here in Baton Rouge and flip it into a positive. If it's a negative, those 2 guys making plays on the ball is obviously a positive. Cornerback, to me, is a question mark on this team. What have you seen from those 2 guys?
Yeah, I mean, I really like what I've seen out of both of them. And I think this kind of goes for the defense as a whole. They look really good. I feel like I'm like going to be putting my foot in my mouth, because that was like the one thing I was saying I was a little concerned about coming into this year. But look, I think depth is still an issue, right? I think you can get by with Ike Yadam or Martin Emerson. I think Jaden Price, who I just kind of you did not really even consider as a true NFL player coming into the year, has looked really good in training camp. He's their backup slot. But, it's all either untested, or the guys who have been tested have huge question marks at your depth spots. But, just looking at the starting 11, I mean, Caden Ellis has been a monster, blowing up run plays, getting into the backfield as a rusher. I mean, Chase Young looks like the fully realized version of Chase Young that everybody was waiting on. He looks like a superstar pass rusher. I just like their pieces, man. I think they're part of the reason that we're talking about, this offense looking up and down. I think they're giving them really tough looks every play out there. And I remember, thinking it might have been my first or second year on the beat. First training camp, this is 2018 or 19, those really good Saints teams. And I was thinking man, that the Saints offense might not be any good because they kind of suck against this defense right now. And it turned out that both sides were just really, really good at football, So I think you just gotta let it play out a little bit. But I've been really, really encouraged by what I've seen on the defensive side of the ball.
Luke Johnson's our guest, covers the New Orleans Saints for NOLA.com and the Advocate. You mentioned Chase Young looking like a superstar, and that's very much a possibility. Everybody that follows this team is aware of that. Kelvin Banks has got a lineup on the other side. How's he held up?
I mean, it feels like not good, right? But, I just, that's one I'm just still not worried about. I think everything we saw last year, when he was really good as a rookie, right? Not great, right? Not like one of those Rashawn Slater seasons where he's an all-pro right away. But you see what he did as a rookie. You're like, yeah, that's going to be a foundational cornerstone player for him for a long time. And then you start talking to people about him and the improvements he's made in the off season and the kind of devotion to the technique and the little things. I think him having 3-4 reps a day in practice against Chase Young, where Chase is just mauling him, that's not really going to make me come off the fact that I think he's going to be a really good player. And I think the encouraging thing is, after one of those reps, you see Chase and Kelvin talking, and I think it's a really good thing for him to be able to go up against somebody who, frankly, I think is going to be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL this year. And to not only get that one-on-one experience, but to then talk about it after and see how somebody who's, kind of set up for greatness is kind of approaching it. I think that's just going to be beneficial. I mean, this is so weird, man. It's like one of those things where like even on the stuff that has been not so good for this team, I think it's going to be good for this team. I think that's maybe just because I'm coming at this from a sense where I think they're going to be better this year, but you can see the good even in the bad.
And then last thing here, just some bumps and bruises here and there since last time we spoke. Obviously, Kendre Miller's name came up, and I was disappointed to see the rookie out of Auburn at right guard potentially have a little bit of an injury. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I think the Kendre one, like I'm going to have to see him get back to the field to feel good about it, just considering his history, right? That's one that just like immediately like your eyebrows go up when you hear his name, and I don't think it's good for Kendre, obviously. A guy who has injury history, dealing with a camp injury. But, I mean, beyond that, like, I think Devin Neal's looked really good. I think Audric Estime's looked really good. I think Ty Chandler is somebody I gave, like, a very minimal shot at making this roster, just considering the logjam they have there. Two straight practices with, like, explosive runs. So, like, they've got depth there. And Kendre's like, I mean, I think he's got to make it back and play to even have a shot at this roster. And then the other guys, Jeremiah Wright was one. Another rookie, Christian Miller, has a toe injury. Kellen Moore, kind of described him as day to day. That's another one where I just like I want to see him come back. Like I don't have any reason to think that Kellen's just like straight up lying to us, and Christian Miller has a turf toe injury; he's going to be out for 12 weeks. But that's like a shoulder for Wright and a toe for Miller. Like I want to see if they're truly day to day. So they'll be off Friday, tomorrow, and Saturday we should get a little better sense of where they're at in their recovery.
You can follow stuff at Blake Johnson on Twitter. He's there with NOLA.com and The Advocate every single day with the New Orleans Saints. He's with us on Thursdays. Thanks, man.
My pleasure, buddy. See you soon.
That is Luke Johnson. Brought to you by Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. Rolled out some new offers for you as we've gotten now into a new month here in August. And want to invite you to go by and check them out. Again, they're online. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. And they've got incredible, incredible deals. 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s, 0% APR financing for 5 years, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. That's until August 31st. They ran that through July. You can still get by and get that in August if you want a truck, but maybe looking for a GMC Sierra. Those 1500s have 2.9 APR for 72 months, plus an additional $1,500 in allowance. That is now through August 31st. If you want a great deal on a truck and you're looking into a Chevy Silverado or a GMC Sierra, look no further, Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Highway 61, of course, online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. Just a little bit of an aside on top of Luke's comment there, and maybe we'll get into it a little bit in hour number 2 as well. Like, if Kendre Miller misses 2 or 3 weeks, you can just shut the door because it's too often, and there are other guys. And I'll take Luke's word for it on Devin Neal. I know that Audric Estime impressed his coaching staff at the end of last year, and he's still here. Ty Chandler's ripping off runs, and you're just not going to make the team if you're not on the field. And I know that Kendre Miller and Dennis Allen got sideways, and I get that, and that maybe he wasn't given quite a fair shake, or maybe there were some decisions made that were out of his hand, and I get that. Things happen in the course of a locker room and personal things that happen, but like this is a new regime, and it's the same old song and dance, and he is never produced at a level in practice, training camp, preseason, regular season, like never to a level that makes you want to go, well, we got to keep giving this guy chances. I know that he was a reasonably high draft pick, but like if you're out all the time, they're just going to move on. And I don't have anything against Kendre Miller, but they got other guys. And so that's an injury to look for. Like Luke said, if he's not out there on Saturday, and if he's not out there by next Wednesday and the first preseason rolls around and he doesn't play, and then all of a sudden you realize that cut day's on the horizon, you just move on. And I think he'll probably find another spot because he was a high enough draft pick to do that. But like the Saints don't have to wait around anymore. They've got some guys that can fill that role. So that's just being realistic there with Kendre Miller. All right, I'm gonna change my tune on this lawsuit. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services, boudreauxelectrical.com. Neil and Melissa have been running the show for 40 years. You may already have a Generac home standby generator. You may have bought it from the big box store. That's very doable. But do you ever hear from them? What if you've got a mechanical issue? Do you know today that if that power goes out this afternoon, that your generator is going to kick on? If not, get the Boudreaux's Boost. Call Boudreaux's Electrical at 985-397-1562. It's 985-397-1562. Or at Gonzalez, 225-300-9389. Give them a call and say, hey, I bought from somewhere else, but I'd really like y'all to service and monitor my generator. Because they can do it 24/7. They'll know there's a mechanical issue before you do. And when they do, they'll send a local team out to fix it. So that when that storm blows through, if that hurricane does show up, you've got the peace of mind to know, hey, my generator is ready to roll. That's the difference with Boudreaux. It's local. So contact Neil and Melissa at Boudreaux's Electrical. Find them online, boudreauxelectrical.com. That's Boudreaux's Electrical Services.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Ever wonder why cane sauce doesn't come in a pre-sealed packet? It's because it's made fresh inside every Raising Cane's every single day. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google. Based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every click, anywhere you are. So leave the buffering behind. 100% fiber, 0% runaround, where support is still personal. Rev Fiber. Visit revfiber.com.
At Southern Classic.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday's show is always brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Some of the best beef in the entire country is just north of Baton Rouge. I'm not being hyperbolic. It is. And it's not some subjective measurement either. They can objectively measure what that beef rates on the intramuscular fat scale. And if you're looking for prime Angus beef, you get it every time with Sean Sagrera and Sagrera Farms. It's a process. Every cow is a 3-year process. From the genetic construction to raising them on grass, finishing them on grain, dry aged 45 days for prime, tender, flavorful beef. If you're not happy with the beef that you buy on a weekly basis for your steaks, for your burgers, or whatever it is that you may make with that beef, and you feel like you're paying an exorbitant amount of price for a bad product, well, get the good product. It's right here north of town, Sean Segura and Segura Farms. You go to the farm, you check out his incredible facility, and you bring home half a cow, a quarter of a cow, a whole cow. Maybe you can distribute it to 3 or 4 families that you're friends with. So when it's time to pull those steaks out for LSU football games, time to bring those burgers out for those late summer nights, Segura Farms, beef, just changes the game. It's the only thing we eat at the Palmer House at this point. Segura Farms Premium Angus Beef brings you our Thursday shows each and every week. All right, so I think those of you who were listening last week are pretty well aware of where I stood on this lawsuit between Ole Miss, Prince William Monmiel, and Devin Harper. I said this last week. If there's a contract, and it says if you break the contract, this is what you owe, then that's what you owe. And my point was, like, if we can't enforce contracts anymore in collegiate athletics, like, what do we even do? That was my point. And I did say and wrote in a column that I wrote for LouisianaSports.net that I was like, I haven't seen the contract. And my assumption is that the contract says, here's what you owe if you breach the contract. And I felt like it would be that black and white. I just would not consider it'd be a strong possibility that Ole Miss's legal team was so flippant in putting these together that they couldn't enforce it. And it was my assumption that Ole Miss would not be as public as they have been with the pursuit of this money if they didn't feel like their case was airtight. But again, I left that as kind of an out, going, I haven't seen this. It's just my assumption that they figured out how to put a contract together, right? Like they put Lane Kiffin's contract together, and Lane Kiffin left to go be the coach at LSU, and LSU owes a buyout, and you pay the buyout, and it's over. That's kind of what I felt. I felt like this would be very similar to that. I didn't think there was a lot of discussion to be had. Well, credit Sam Hutchins, the Jackson Clarion Ledger, who dug deep into this, spoke with some attorneys, I think has seen some contractual language. And his piece in the Clarion Ledger today changes my tune a little bit. One, he spoke with a North Carolina professor, Barbara Osborne, who specializes in sports law. And she told the Clarion Ledger that a buyout contract has a liquidated damage clause, and it cannot be punitive, meaning LSU has to pay Ole Miss the remainder of Lane Kiffin's buyout because that's what Ole Miss owes, and that's what the buyout stipulates that he will have to pay to leave. But you can't just make up a number that's exorbitant in the court of law's view just because. There has to be a reason why, an evaluation as to what the number on the buyout is. That's what this attorney from North Carolina says. As I continue to read, it says that Ole Miss can recover only the monetary worth of Harper and Uman Mielen's services if the court determines Uman Mielen is worth $550,000 and Harper is worth $400,000. But if they're not worth that much, the clauses would be unenforceable. The quote from Osborne says, if you're looking at liquidated damages clause, that would have to be an amount that would be reasonable based on the information that both sides had at the time it was agreed to. It continues that as long as Ole Miss can provide proper documentation, it's in a strong position to be paid at least some of the buyouts, the expert says. LSU players' best shot is to argue for a reduction in the buyouts, not for the buyouts to be dropped completely. That's what the expert said. So essentially, and look, I'm not an attorney, but I did read this, and I'm just following along. What LSU is going to say, and not LSU, it's actually Devin Harper and Prince William Monmiel and their legal representation will say, wait a second, $550,000. Says who? That's punitive. You are trying to hold us hostage for an exorbitant amount of money that doesn't adequately reflect what I'm worth. And I don't know if that holds up for Prince William Monmiel or not, because he was one of the SEC's top sack guys last year. And he has a platform in college football as a starting player on a college football playoff championship. Remember when we talked to Michael Katz earlier this week, he said that this is not a pay-for-play thing. It's a pay for the branding. It's a pay for your name, image, and likeness and what you can do for Ole Miss. Devin Harper didn't start last year. Hasn't started. Played in 6 games. So to suggest that he is worth $400,000+ might be stepping out of bounds. Might be. I'm not giving you definitives here. Might be. And so this is what LSU is going to do. And now it makes more sense to me. Because if LSU does step in and pay this money, which I suggested last week that they should help if those two cannot pay, if LSU steps in and pays, you're talking about taking that out of your revenue sharing pool for this year. Well, that's almost $1 million. This is not a $40 million rev share deal. The rev share was just north of 20. So that's a big chunk that you're dipping into that you may have already allocated. So I understand now LSU's reluctance at all to help Harper and Uman-Mielen, and I understand Uman-Mielen and Harper under legal advice go, hey, well, that's not what we think we're worth, so if you want to spend a bunch of money and sue us, we'll barter that down, potentially to zero or settle, but we're not paying the whole thing. And I now see LSU side and LSU player sides absolutely. If these attorneys, who know a lot better than I do, understand. Where I will now pivot is to look at Ole Miss and go, probably didn't want to make that public. Because now you kind of do look like you have egg on your face. You kind of do look like, well, we just slapped some money on this, and now it might not be enforceable if a court of law suggests that that's the inaccurate amount of money based on what we put together. It was my mistake to assume, Hunt's mistake, I'm saying now in first person, it was my mistake to assume that the contract was cut and dried. I felt like it was likely like a coach's buyout. And we see those paid every single year, with schools paying buyouts to hire coaches and schools paying buyouts to fire coaches. Like, those are black and white. I just assumed this was that. I assumed there was money in that contract. If you left, you got to pay the money. That's what I assumed. It doesn't appear that's correct now. And it appears that LSU is well within their rights to sit there and play hardball. And right now, if what I'm understanding, and again, as information comes out, I'll react to that. This is going to be a reactionary thing for me because I'm not on the inside of this deal. I don't know what the contract says. So I'm reacting to what I read and what I hear. And I withhold the right to change my tune next week if something else comes out or we get the contractual language or there's a ruling. I'll react as it may be. But now, my opinion is it feels foolish of Ole Miss to feel like they've got a potentially unenforceable contract that it's very unlikely that they're going to recoup the full $900,000+ to issue a statement about that to the media to attempt to look holier than thou and to disparage LSU, their former head coach, and 2 of their former players. It looks foolish now. That's my opinion. I did not feel that way a week ago. But I didn't have all the facts, and they're continuing to trickle out. The crux of the piece that Sam Hutchins wrote for the Clarion Ledger today with the opinion of legal experts is that it is very likely that this drags on. Financial cases take longer. There's not generally a rush, is what they say. This is likely to drag on well beyond the season and is likely to be settled for significantly less than what Ole Miss is demanding. And to me, that is all the reason in the world for LSU to just sit this one out. All the reason in the world for Uman-Mielen and Devin Harper to go, And by the way, just compounding that, to take LSU and Ole Miss completely out of this thing, it's still a little bit crazy to me that there's just no way to hold these guys in place. It's a free-for-all, and suggesting that you can pin them down contractually appears not to be the case. And that was something I was talking about last week. So look, I'm not too proud to change my tune. I will react to things as they come. I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'm going to give you my opinion. Last week, I thought this looked ridiculous for LSU. This week, I think Ole Miss probably stepped out of bounds on this one. Doesn't mean they're not going to get money. just means that probably overstepped from a public perspective in Keith Carter telling the media they're going to file suit and then releasing a statement that you filed suit for something you may not be able to capture. We'll see. It'll be a devolving story, but for me now that I read this, I'm going, just let me know when it's over. We'll come back. Easton Royal set his visits for the fall. Where's he going next?
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com, swingeasygcbr.com. Almost the weekend. Great time to squeeze in some golf. But if you're not a fan of 100-degree temperatures, not a fan of those afternoon showers, not a fan of 5-hour golf rounds, well, you can eliminate all that with Swing Easy Golf Club. Book a private bay. You can play 18 holes by yourself in an hour. Easy. You want to spend 4 hours there, but you want to do it in the comfort of the air conditioning with the television, some tunes, some friends, and some cold drinks. You can do that at Swing Easy Golf Club as well. Play Pebble Beach. Play Cypress Point. Bethpage Black, the old course of St. Andrews. They're all available right there on the simulator. All the mulligans you want, if that's what you're looking for. Go check them out. They're on Segan at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club. Great, great, great simulators, incredible technology, and a ton of fun. Get by this weekend at Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor of the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office protects and serves over 132,000 residents across the parish.
Keeping our community safe is our mission, and Rev Fiber plays a critical role in how we respond. Whether it's training in our special divisions, forensics investigations, or fielding emergency calls in our operations center, Rev Business connects our teams in real time, which is why we partner with Rev Business.
Get 6 months free of Rev Business services. Call or click today.
People think it's all about game day.
Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season. Spring practices, early lifts,
Extra reps.
And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
so we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Highland Insurance Group brings you the Hunt Palmer Show every single day online at HighlandIG.com. That's HighlandIG.com. Jonathan Carver and his team do great work when it comes to employee benefits. So if you're really getting squeezed in trying to insure your employees and you want a second opinion, contact the Highland Insurance Group. They're happy to help you out with that. they're not a silver bullet. They can't promise they're going to save you 20% off the top, but they can promise you that they'll have a conversation with you, and they can promise you that they have had success with businesses in South Louisiana in insuring their employees annually. So if you've had a tough renewal or you're dreading the one that's coming up, contact Jonathan Carbo and the Highland Insurance Group online at highlandig.com. All right, Easton Royal is going to be a hot topic over the course of the fall. Of course, the 5-star receiver from down in New Orleans, that Brother Martin, has garnered attention from Texas, LSU, and Florida. He's committed to the Longhorns, but everyone thinks that LSU is still very much in the mix here, and he has set his schedule for game day visits to LSU, Texas, and Florida. It's going to be pretty fun fall for Easton Royal, I would suggest. He's going to be at LSU Labor Day weekend for LSU and Clemson. The following weekend, he's going to head to Austin, Texas. He will see Texas and Ohio State there at DKR. And then on September the 26th, he's going to go to Florida to see the Florida Gators take on the Ole Miss Rebels. So just a star-studded group of visits for Easton Royal coming up this fall. And also, he plans to come see LSU and Texas play in Tiger Stadium, see both of them in one spot on November the 14th. So a couple of trips to LSU, one to Texas, one to Florida, and we'll see what else he can mix in here. Easton Royal, to me, feels like an important recruit. I realize that no one recruit is more important than the program, especially considering what you can do in the transfer portal every single year. But I think Lane Kiffin is going to prioritize some freshmen over others. And at wide receiver, you can get on the field pretty quick and make a big impact. And I think he sees that in Easton Royal. I think he sees a Louisiana player who can come in and really help for 3 years right off the top. And that's a guy you do invest in. Maybe an offensive lineman, maybe an interior defensive lineman, maybe a quarterback. Like, you're not going to invest the top dollar on somebody that's just not ready to help right out of the gate. But wide receivers can and do, and especially when they're of the playmaking level of Easton Royal. You want to lock down the state of Louisiana. You want to do it within reason. And there are some guys that are really talented players that are going to leave the state this year. Right now, you're not going to get, one of the top quarterbacks in the country in Elijah Havens. Got an offensive lineman headed to Notre Dame. There are some that are going to leave. But Royal is a guy that I think LSU is prioritizing, that I do think LSU is willing to invest in because of the position that he plays and the skill set that he's got. And I think it's important, in a sense, to send a message about the state of Louisiana that you're planning on really making hay with the guys that you target in the state. You can always go national. You can always go into the portal. You can always get a wide receiver from Western Kentucky that fits the mold. You can always get a wide receiver from Boston College or Memphis or Louisville. But there's something about getting those guys from in the state that just kind of makes this LSU football team roll. And I've given you my thoughts on that over the course of the last 6 weeks of how I've gone back and forth on like how vital the top end of the state of Louisiana is. And I think that it would be inarguable that it's taken on less of an impact over the last 5 years with the portal because of the access you have to talent every single December and January to restock the shelves. But I also have remained steadfast that I want guys in this program that are from the state of Louisiana that are here for 3 years that make huge impacts, because I think you need Malik Neighbors and Will Campbell in the program. I think those are guys that you need to get. And Easton Royal is one of those guys. And if Texas gets him, it won't be the end of the world. I'd be stunned if he went to Florida. But if LSU gets him, I think it really flips how you look at the signing class. And you look at, man, you may have gotten every Louisiana guy that you truly targeted, and you were able to go nationally and reel in a top 5 class. Because ultimately, I think player acquisition is one of the big reasons why Lane Kiffin chose LSU. So what you got to do is go put on a show against Clemson. What you've got to do is go put on a show against Texas. What you've got to do is fill Tiger Stadium and make it as good as it can be. And you've got to put together a really good offense this year that throws the football around and puts up points and is exciting. He's got to see that, and then you've got to make the dollars and cents work to get him in the boat. It's not the end of the world if he doesn't, but it changes the way I look at this signing class if you do. And Easton Royal has never slammed that door on LSU. And the sense is that he's really interested in LSU. and you're going to get the first swing at him. And in terms of an on-campus visit, you may get the last swing at him. And both of those feel important. And if you get both, you got a real shot. You got to make the dollars and cents work. But Easton Royal is going to come to LSU for Clemson. He'll be at Texas for Ohio State. He'll be at Florida for Ole Miss. And then he'll come watch the Tigers and Longhorns in Tiger Stadium. Maybe it's a big fall for LSU on the field and in the recruiting rankings. That'd be a good thing, and Easton Royal will be a big, big part of that. It's our hour number 1 here on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms. Talk some Tigers with Sam Levitt. Talk some LSU and Ole Miss lawsuit. Talk Saints with Luke Johnson. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. All at LSU talk at Hunt on LSU. Plenty of sound in our second hour. Come back after Sports Center. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. You got to be able to trust your roofer. Got to. So you go with the local option, Lifetime Roofing. Oftentimes, when there is a weather event that triggers a significant amount of roof damage, you get roofing companies that come in and they're just trying to make some cash. And so they'll sell you their most expensive product. That's a new roof. If you need a new roof, Lifetime Roofing will do that. But let them come out and inspect. Let them see if you just need a repair. They can do it. Let them see if you just need a fortification, a tune-up. They can do that. If you do need a new roof, let them put it in so you get that lifetime workmanship warranty from Lifetime Roofing. If you need to finance it, they can handle that. 0% for 18 months. If you've got a deductible you want to finance, they can do that too. It's Lifetime Roofing. It's a local Baton Rouge company with a Baton Rouge team here to serve South Louisiana. You can find them online at LifetimeRoofingLA.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office protects and serves over 132,000 residents across the parish.
Keeping our community safe is our mission, and Rev Fiber plays a critical role in how we respond. Whether it's training in our special divisions, forensics investigations, or fielding emergency calls in our operations center, Rev Business connects our teams in real time, which is why we partner with Rev Business.
Get 6 months free of Rev Business services. Call or click today.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized, it'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes. This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. As they did in the spring with quarterback Daniel Jones and top receiver Alec Pierce, the Colts handed out another big payday. Today it was to running back Jonathan Taylor. 2-year extension worth $44 million, $39 million guaranteed, third largest deal for a running back in NFL history. And it keeps him off next year's free agent market. Coach Shane Steichen.
He's one of the best in the league, when there's no doubt about it. And to get him signed to that extension is huge for our football team. You never want to lose great players, and he's a great player. Obviously played his whole career here. He's a home run threat, makes a ton of plays for us. You know, when we need a play, he's usually the guy that makes it.
Buccaneers GM Jason Licht told reporters he has no plans to trade Vita Vea. The Pro Bowl nose tackle looking for a new contract recently requested a trade. Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Aaliyah Boston among the first-timers named to the 12-player women's national basketball team. North Carolina football coach Bill Belichick said his son, defensive coordinator Steve Belichick, is on indefinite medical leave. He did not provide any other details.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Just got a press release to kick off the hour, briefly. We'll get into some Kellen Moore sound here. LSU women's basketball is going to play UConn in Bridgestone Arena in Nashville on December 20th. So if you want to do a little Christmas in Music City, LSU, UConn, Gino, Kim, right there at Bridgestone Arena on December the 20th. So that should be a heck of a showdown. And I like Kim stepping out in the non-conference. Too many 121 to 51s or 121 to 31s in some cases. Go play UConn. I like that. So LSU and UConn women December 20th in Nashville. Let's talk some Saints. Kellen Moore met with the media today. The Saints will have the day off tomorrow, but he met with the media today to kind of recap camp. And quite honestly, a lot of the talk today was about Barrion Brown. We had talked about him extensively yesterday and a little bit with Luke today, so we'll avoid a little bit of that in what Kellen Moore had to say. I'm interested in a couple of other young players on this team. The first being the left tackle, Kelvin Banks, who had a really nice rookie year. He wasn't an all-pro and not necessarily a Pro Bowler, but a guy that played at left tackle and held his own last year. And now he's entering year 2, and you expect a jump from him, but that jump comes at a cost in training camp because you're dealing with Chase Young. So what about Kelvin Banks as a coachable left tackle? Kellen Moore spoke about their first-round pick from last year.
I think Kelvin just absorbs everything in such a positive way. You don't see a lot of the same mistakes. If he makes a mistake, okay, I get to learn from it. He's got an awesome offensive line staff that he gets to work with. He's got David Edwards next to him that's seen everything in this league that can be a resource. One of my favorite things was a couple days ago in the one-on-ones, him and Chase went a couple times in a row against each other. And as soon as they were done, they were sitting there talking to each other, like giving each other feedback. And I'm like, that's all you can dream of, in these situations, to watch those guys, trying to help each other and get better.
That's something we talked about with Luke in hour 1, and I think it's great. When you've got someone of Chase Young's stature in the league who's been an elite player early in his career, always had every single measurable and ability that you could want, and has been a productive player. He was very good for the Saints last year. He wasn't TJ Watt. He wasn't a defensive player of the year, but he's a really good player. And to have him helping your second-year left tackle is obviously a really, really good thing. And it's one thing to help by just the reps, down in, down out at practice, and it's another thing to help post-rep and be like, this is what I see, this is what this guy used to do, this is what I've seen in the NFL from left tackles over the years. And I think that's awesome. And Kellen Moore spoke to Chase Young and help speeding that develop up of Kelvin Banks.
No doubt. I think our edge rushers, we have size and length and it's a really talented group. And so our tackles get challenged each and every day with these guys. And so what I love is just the communication that these guys are doing to help each other get better. I mean, I think that's the goal for all of us is everyone's trying to get better. And when we have everyone aligned, trying to help each other, raise the floor, raise everyone, that creates a really good, kind of ecosystem.
We talked in the summer about how the Saints don't have anyone on their roster ranked in the top 10 at a single position in the National Football League by ESPN. Subjective ranking, but I don't have beef with it. Like, I think Eric McCoy is one of the 10 best centers and potentially interior offensive lineman in the NFL, but he hasn't proven that the last 2 years. And if there's anybody else on that list that you have a huge issue with, I think there's probably some inherent bias there. I don't think that there's a slam dunk top 10 player at his position on the Saints roster. So you got to look at where can they come from, because if the Saints are going to go try to win a division and then try to compete at the top of the NFC over the next couple of years, you're going to have some stars on your team. Where are those most likely to come from? Well, probably your first-round picks, right? And Kelvin Banks is one of those. So if you're going to see this team ascend to the level we'd like to see them ascend to, then you're going to have some of these guys become stars. And Kelvin Banks becoming that would be a huge, huge deal. And obviously, we have high hopes for last year's draft class that really showed some stuff last year. Of course, we're talking about Banks in that number. Of course, we're talking about Jonas Sanker in that number. But we're also talking about Quincy Riley in that number as a guy that needs to show up and be an impactful player at the corner. And we heard he had an interception today, and Kellen Moore talked about his early camp in year 2.
Yeah, I think Quincy's done a nice job. Yeah, I think, again, for those guys, it's just consistent play after play, day after day. That's the key part of this. You play hard jobs out there on the red line and outside the numbers. And so there's going to be occasionally a ball caught in front of you, and it's how you respond after that, and you just keep battling. And I think that's what you love about Quincy is he doesn't back down from anything. He just keeps going, and so he's had a really nice camp.
I'm not going to rubber stamp this take. It's a tepid take in terms of my intensity. I could see Quincy Riley becoming a really, really good cornerback. Like, I could see that. Based on the flashes you saw as a rookie, he got beat sometimes, but there were some flashes where he was around the ball, where he wasn't afraid to stick his nose in there, where he was running stride for stride. And that's as a rookie playing one of the most difficult positions on the field in the NFL. You figure year 2, year 3, year 4 of this guy, he could blossom into something. I'm not 100% committed that he is going to do it. I could see it. Another guy they need to come along, and it's getting late on that front, but you still have time, is Kool-Aid McKinstry, who also had an interception today, and that's the other side of this thing. Kellen Moore talked about Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it looked like it just came up a little short in a throwaway situation, and Kool-Aid made a great play. So defense is able to make a couple plays. I think those are big highlight moments. Guys are able to make turnovers in the red zone. Those are huge plays for our defense.
And that was one I sensed in the bite that Kellen, his offensive side came out there. It just felt like he was a little cranky because we talked to Luke Johnson in the first hour about that play. It was in the red zone, and Shuck was trying to throw the ball away, and he didn't throw it away far enough, and Kool-Aid made a play on it. And that's some athleticism and defense, and it's a misplay on the offensive part. And I sensed in Kellen's tone there, he's like, throw away the came up short. And like everybody's got their side of the ball that is their baby. Kellen Moore is quite obviously an offensive guy, and I don't think he loved that. But if you're a defensive guy, you love Kool-Aid making a play on the ball. And it's great to hear from that perspective that McKinstry and Riley both had picks today at camp. Yeah, that's a negative for Shuck, no question about it. Everything that happens out there in a scrimmage where you're scrimmaging yourself is a negative for one side of the ball and a positive for one side of the ball. But those are two guys that need to come along, and for them to have some positives, I think was a very, very good thing. So hopefully those two guys are coming along there for the Saints on the outside. Last thing I wanted to get to was the Day 7 medical update. This was not a overly long bite, which is a good thing, but Kellen Moore updated on some of the health issues through a week in camp.
All right, so a couple guys didn't finish practice with injuries. We'll just get an update on that with Chris Rumpf with an ankle, Devin Neal with a hammy. So those guys weren't able to finish practice, but we'll check on that. And then we had a couple guys that are just kind of day-to-day as we kind of come out of these last couple padded days. Christian Miller with the toe, Jay Wright with the shoulder, and Silver with the calf. And then Alvin had kind of we just gave him a rest day today as we kind of maintain him through training camp.
Look, as camp injury updates go, That's pretty positive. Do I want Jeremiah right there? Yeah, I'd like him to play. Would I like Devin Neal to be out there? I'd love it if he were out there. Christian Miller, does he need to speed up his development now that you've got Brian Brzee out for the season? Sure, but nobody there is getting carted off the field. Nobody there is a definitive significant injury. You just had a couple of body parts listed and a rest day for Kamara. So again, we're gonna be despondent when negative things happen from an injury perspective, and we certainly talked about Brian Brzee that next day. Why not, when you get a relatively positive update, go, all right, that's pretty good. Keep working. You got a day off tomorrow. Those guys can get off their feet tomorrow if need be, get some treatment if need be, and then hopefully when Saturday rolls around, those guys are ready to get back out, and I'm sure that all of them will not, but it didn't sound like anybody was going to miss 3 to 6 to 10 to the whole season. This is a deal where everybody seems to be on the straight and narrow, and that's a good thing. Soft tissue injuries in training camp are just such a bummer, and they can derail things. We've seen Saints injuries over the last 3 years just be brutal. So when you get a positive update from Kellen Moore that doesn't have a significant amount of real injuries, it's a good thing. The last guy that wasn't mentioned there that we talked about in hour number one is of course Kendre Miller, who just needs to be out on the practice field. And if he's not over the course of the next week and change, you got an uphill battle to try to make this roster. That's just the way that it is. So good stuff from the Saints today. Sound like there's some real positive developments, not a lot of negative on the injury front, and they'll get a day off and they'll get back after it on Saturday. If you want to read some Saints content, I cannot recommend Ross Jackson's practice reports and observations enough. He is as detailed as anybody on that beat when it comes to what goes on in the practice field. So if you want to read them, and I know y'all are because I see the numbers on the back end of the site, go check that out for free on LouisianaSports.net. And you can always find our Saints stuff here on the Hunt Palmer Show at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcast, of course, on YouTube as well. Let's transition back to the LSU Fighting Tigers. What am I looking for at 6:35 tonight when LSU hits the practice field? I'll tell you about it coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. They wanted to make sure that I told y'all that if you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, they've got pre-owned vehicles to fit any budget. I tell you about the new deals that they've got, and they've got great ones throughout the month of August if you're looking especially for Silverados or Sierras on the truck front. But if you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, Fabry Chevrolet GMC has got them on the lot. You can check them out at FabryChevrolet.com. Sort by pre-owned, and then you can sort by mileage, you can sort by pricing, you can sort by make and model to see if they have the exact model that you're looking for in the pre-owned, and they can drill down on exactly what it is you want. And once you find that vehicle, go test drive. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. It's a quick drive north from Baton Rouge. My wife and I went back a couple of months ago for a little anniversary getaway, and it's not far at all. So go check them out on Highway 61. If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, they've got it to match any budget. Fabry Chevrolet GMC, the entire inventory, new and pre-owned, is right there at FabryChevrolet.com.
Raising Cane's Texas Toast is a thick slice of bread, garlic butter spread, grilled to golden perfection, and made to order just for you. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. That's First American Bank and Trust. Look, they've been at this since 1910. That is 116 years in Southeast Louisiana. 25 locations, so there's always one near you, whether you're up I-12 in St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, maybe you're down the bayou in St. James, St. John, Lafourche. They got a location near you. If you're in Metairie, got one just outside of Baton Rouge and Dutchtown. They've got one there as well. So you got the local feel. And when they make a decision on a commercial loan, it's made in Southeast Louisiana. When they make a decision on a personal loan, it's made in Southeast Louisiana. When you bank with First American Bank and Trust and you make a call to your bank, you get someone in Southeast Louisiana. It's a local feel, but they've got the resources to back you with 25 locations throughout our state. It's First American Bank and Trust. Check them out online at FABT.com. All right, I checked today and looked at the schedule, because we got the first email for LSU fall camp, and I just kind of looked at days and looked at time of day, and because tonight I've not been to a night practice in my time covering LSU. I don't recall one. There may have been a night scrimmage there have been some afternoon scrimmages, but a 6:30 p.m. practice I don't think I've ever covered. But I didn't look specifically at the periods we were watching, because I just didn't know. And I did look, and every single thing we got from the email suggests that we'll be looking at individual periods. So I don't think we're going to see any 7-on-7. I don't think we're going to see any 11-on-11. That's just for your edification, to understand what you're going to be getting from us from a content perspective. And so I've got to now wrap my head around, what can I see in individual periods that is worth talking about and writing about for LouisianaSports.net. And I decided for yesterday's practice, first one, I'm going 12 minutes, all Levitt, everything he got. And there will be other days where I do that again, because he's the most impactful player on this team. But now the question is, what else is worth watching when you get 12 minutes of individual periods? And so I thought of some things that I may go look at tonight. One, I want to see if Trades Green and Jace Brown, once again, only work with Sam Levitt. I noticed that on, what's today, Thursday? On Wednesday. And I want to see if that's the case again. Those two potentially could be your top two pass catching options. If they spend all their time with Levitt, that was the reason that's on purpose. I do want to continue to look at the safety rotation, because we saw that Jace Brown was out. Jace Thomas, second Jace of the segment. Jace Thomas was running first team with Ty Benefield, and that could be for any reason. Honestly, I saw some people very much look at that and go, well, I mean, obviously Cooley's gotten beaten out. How did that happen? Well, you could, one, be incentivizing Jace Thomas for a great summer of workouts. One, you could be lighting a fire under Cooley if there was something you didn't like he did. Two, what if you just wanted TaMarcus Cooley to be back there with the second team to tell all the secondary guys where they're supposed to be because he's been in the defense for a year? Like, there could be any reason why those two guys took the rotation that they did on day one. But again, we were out there for the spring, and we noticed that Devin Harper was the left guard, and then one day Bo Bordelon was the left guard, and the next day Bo Bordelon was the left guard, and the next day Bo Bordelon was left guard, and then the 3 weeks had passed by, and Bo Bordelon was the left guard every day. And then we talked to Whit Weeks at SEC Media Days, and he said, yeah, Bo's like won that spot. That's awesome. Which you could lose it over the course of fall camp, but like there are some things you can take away from those 11-man periods. And I want to see if Jace Thomas is, in fact, kind of making a push there. Lane Kiffin was non-committal with his comments yesterday, which is fine. But I'm going to go check that out. You know who I'd like to see? I haven't really laid eyes on practicing at all in a year and a half. I'd like to see Solomon Thomas. So I'm going to go see where he's standing and whether or not he can practice. Because this time last year, he had a hurt foot, and he was on a bike. And then he didn't play at all as a true freshman, which you wouldn't figure. But he was a 5-star recruit. He didn't play as a freshman because he missed all of camp. And then we got out there in the spring, and he wasn't practicing again because he was hurt. So I don't know what's going on with Solomon Thomas. I don't know if he's any good. I don't even know what position he plays. I don't know if he's a left tackle or a right guard. Like, I have no idea. He never practices. But I'd like to see him. So I'm going to go see what Solomon Thomas is doing today. And then there are some guys that I want to take a look at as far as their physical size. I saw the running backs on Wednesday, but I didn't spend a lot of time with the running backs on Wednesday because I was watching Levitt. Well, we can stand right next to them. And so I will do that some over the course of the next 2 times we watch practice, and I'll see how Harlem Berry looks physically. He needs to be 10 pounds heavier than he was as a freshman. Maybe he already is, but he needs to be bigger and more physical. The running ability is great. He's fluid. He's got great speed. He's got all those things that you need in space to run the ball, but he does need to add some bulk, and I just want to see kind of what he looks like. I mentioned this earlier this week. I'd like to see what Haven Finney looks like from a size perspective. He was not running with the twos yesterday. Michael Turner had that spot, and Michael Turner's not going to win any bodybuilding competitions anytime soon. He's barely over 160 pounds, and he's been in the program for 2 years. But I want to see what Finney looks like because that's a guy that I think could add potential depth at the cornerback position based on his pedigree, his length, his ability that had him ranked as a top 3 corner in the country in his class, and by some, the top-ranked corner in his class before he reclassified to become a high school college freshman this year as opposed to when he should be a high school senior this year. But I want to see what he looks like. And that's like the majority of the stuff that I think I'm going to look like over the next two practices that I go to. I want to see if Weston Davis continues to work at right tackle. Maybe we don't get to see that if the offensive linemen don't do 5-man things. If they're just hitting the sleds, it's 1 over 1 over 1 over 1. But if they do line up in a 5-man in an individual drill to do some walkthroughs, that can be of some information to me to pass along to you. And I would like to see Landon Clark and Husan Longstreet be a little more accurate than they were yesterday. I didn't spend a lot of time talking to you about them yesterday, but they misfired a good bit yesterday. And that's okay. Like, it's the first day. It's the first day. You got some nerves. You're out there for the first time. It's hot. Dealing with new wide receivers. Those guys got a lot of reps in the spring. And I think there was a good reason that they came to LSU because they knew they would get a lot of those reps in the spring at a high-profile place with a couple of coaches in Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. who have been awesome quarterback developers over the years. And they got a lot of reps in the spring, but they're not going to get as many now. So they need to take advantage of the ones that they get. And let's be frank, like Sam Levitt is probably in his last year at LSU. And those guys are going to have an opportunity to earn the starting job at LSU at some point. I would bet on Longstreet before I bet on Clark, but it's possible. And look, they might both transfer, or they might both stay and a transfer comes in and beats them out. You never know this far out what next year's quarterback situation looks like, but those guys are right now very literally next man up. We know last year Garrett Nussmeier got hurt. We know Jaden Daniels left a couple of games in his 2 years as a quarterback. Sometimes you need to back up to step in, so I'll pay attention to those guys. I will stand by my rationale that oftentimes if a starting quarterback gets hurt, that's going to be a death sentence for a team long term. There just aren't enough teams that have quality backup quarterbacks to Cardale Jones your way to this thing. to Trinidad Chambliss your way to this thing. Like it's not unheard of. It's just not something you can lean on. But there is an opportunity for those guys to earn the backup role. And if Levitt is running and he is just coming off injury, you need to have another guy ready to go. So I'm going to watch those guys throw the ball a little bit. I can't accomplish all these things in 12 minutes. As I was talking to you yesterday, if I try to do all these things in 12 minutes, I'll have to spend 90 seconds on each. And that doesn't really give you much. 90 seconds is not a sample size that's going to generate a lot of content. So I've got to determine what we're doing. The good news is me and Matt can put 2 sets of eyes on it. So I'm going to send him probably to the offense today. I'll go check out some defense and then pay attention to some of the things I've got on this list. But for your information, we will have LSU at 6:35 tonight. We will be able to go see them. We are not allowed to report until after practice is over. We won't know when practice is over. So I guess they'll let us know when we're able to post. But if you want a practice report tonight, we will send it out at louisianasports.net. You can read it for free. I want to remind you all of this as well. I promise this does not get overwhelming. I promise. We don't even do one of these a week. Now, this time of year we might, but it's not a 3-time-a-day, 5-time-a-day thing. Download the 104.5 ESPN app. If you download that and enable notifications, we can send you notifications when LSU gets a football commitment, when LSU has a practice report that we've published, when LSU has a decommitment, a transfer portal edition. Big stuff that happens with the Saints have a season-ending injury, or the Saints, we send that stuff out via the app on notifications. So if you want the big stories sent to you instantly in real time, download the 104.5 ESPN app and enable the notifications, and we will certainly send you those as they're made available to us. So LSU tonight at 6:35. We'll be out there. We'll have a report up at louisianasports.net, and we'll be talking about it on tomorrow's show. Thursday's show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We'll step aside. 30 minutes to go. Come back with us.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about my friends over at Ochsner, and they're always so helpful with the things that they can provide, both from an access and then with the healthcare they provide and the information as well. Families are getting ready for back to school. Ochsner is reminding parents that success in the classroom starts with overall wellness. That means checking in on your child's mental health, not just their grades. Pay attention to changes in their mood or behavior. Create time to connect and encourage open conversations about how they're feeling. Many Ochsner Health Centers offer both primary care and pediatric services at one location. So if you're looking to make things easier for families to coordinate care for everybody in the household, Ochsner can do that. Same-day appointment availability at many locations can help families address some unexpected health concerns quickly as kids return to school and the activities that go with that. They got convenient access to primary and pediatric care that can help families stay on top of annual wellness visits. If you're looking for more tips on helping your family start the school year healthy, safe, and ready to succeed, I invite you to visit ochsner.org/BR. That's ochsner.org/BR.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local, affordable. Pelican Roofing, making quality roofing affordable for South Louisiana families.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
At Relief Windows.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
I enjoy Ryan McGee's storytelling on ESPN. I think some of the stuff he does in game day with those short 30-second little intros, and he does some for the College World Series as well. I think they're really good, and I like the stuff he writes. And he put a story up today that I was scrolling through, and I was like, oh, okay. It was the ranking of college football's greatest supervillains of all time. That's a long time. And so I started to scroll through, and number 10 on the list was Caleb Williams. And I remember people didn't love Caleb Williams, transferred from Oklahoma to USC and cried into his mom's arms. And I okay, that's fine. Deion Sanders is number 9. Primetime. I mean, if you're not pulling for primetime, I can see where you wouldn't love it. A lot of dancing, a lot of showmen, got the jewelry going. I got it, but pretty good player. Tim Tebow. Now look, that's my college years, okay? And yes, Tim Tebow was the villain because he was so good. And he was intense, and he was fiery, and he was giving the gator chomp, and he was giving the speeches, and he had the eye black going, and he was winning games and running over people, and he's in the mud at Florida State. And like, okay, yeah, I mean, in real time, he's like the least villainous person ever. But like in college football terms, I get that he would be a big villain there at number 8. Number 7, he had ESPN, which, I don't know about that. I don't feel that way. I know there are people that love to feel that way because this announcer hates my team and this announcer hates my team and this political lean I hate. And I don't have time for ESPN being in the supervillains. Notre Dame, I get too. They play by their own set of rules. We're special. You're not. We're not getting the conference. You can't make us. We're doing our own thing. If y'all have a BCS meeting, you have to invite us. What are you doing in the playoff? Write us in a clause. What about this New Year's Six Bowl? We need to be invited to that too. Well, ACC, we'll play in some of your sports, but like not football, but give us some of your sports. And you know what? Give me some of your teams. We'll play every year, but not all the teams. Forget Notre Dame. It's just ridiculous that they play by their own set of rules. I get that one too. They're number 6. I'm on it with them. The 1990 Miami Hurricanes. How this is not number 1, I don't know. They were the villain. I wasn't around for this, but I certainly watched the U documentary. I certainly have seen Michael Irvin. I certainly have seen Jimmy Johnson. I certainly have seen what these guys were in college football, and they're villains to a T. So I think they should be higher on this list at number 5. The Boz is number 4. I've seen that 30 for 30 as well. You know, brash, brazen, big personality, mean, showman, the whole thing. Basically a professional wrestler transported into college football. I get it. That one makes a lot of sense at 4. Yeah, number 3, I get it. Johnny Manziel, villain. Money, money, money. Is he cheating? Is he not? Was he getting impermissible benefits? Then he's showing you he's getting impermissible benefits. Is his dad rich? Oh, he's not actually rich, but you told us he was rich. That's how he got all the money. Is he, on social media? Is he in Vegas with Drake? Texas A&M, the whole thing. Like, I get Johnny Manziel at number 3 as well. And then number 1, I skipped number 2. Number 1 is Steve Spurrier. Now, look, the old ball coach, he'll get on the microphone. He'll say, you always like to play Tennessee first couple of games because they'll have somebody suspended. You can't play spell Citrus Bowl without UT. Georgia doesn't have any books in their library, the whole deal. Plus, he was running up the score on people. Well, if you don't like it, you need to stop us. I get that. And look, he inflicted a lot of pain on LSU. There's no question about that. It was my formative years. 1997 Florida game is one that burned into my brain. It's the one that set the hook on me for LSU forever. But I know he was a big villain to LSU and tortured LSU over the years. I get it. Number 2 on this list, between Manziel and Spurrier, is Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, the second biggest villain in the history of college football. More than the 1990 Hurricanes, more than Boz, more than Notre Dame, more than Tim Tebow or Deion Sanders. Lane Kiffin, number 2 all time. And he goes through the laundry list. I fired Lane Kiffin from the Raiders. That's an Al Davis line. Tennessee, you get F. Lane Kiffin painted on the big rock. USC gets fired on the tarmac after the Sun Bowl. Nick Saban told him to get out of the building and go to Florida Atlantic for a national championship game. And then the craziness that went on with LSU and Ole Miss in November and December of last year. Then he goes into the segregation deal with Vanity Fair. I get it. And I don't disagree with this. I've said this from the start. Right now, moving forward, LSU is absolutely going to wear the black hat in football and men's basketball because nobody outside Baton Rouge likes Lane Kiffin right now. Nobody outside likes Will Wade at all. And honestly, you're wearing a little bit of a black hat. It's probably got a lot of sparkles on it, but you're wearing a little bit of black hat in women's basketball because most people don't like Kim Mulkey either. And you know what? Who cares? Who cares? As long as these guys are not breaking the law and they're just, to the outside world, unlikable, who cares? Now, if it becomes a recruiting problem, all right. If it becomes an issue breaking the rules where you're punished by the NCAA or the SEC or the powers that be, okay, and we've gone through that with Will Wade once. But who cares? What you've got are really good coaches. And what you've got are really good coaches that the country doesn't like. And I've talked about this previously. Lane Kiffin, I believe, desires approval. I believe he wants people to like him. I don't know Lane Kiffin. I've never spoken to Lane Kiffin. Never interviewed him. Never asked him a question. Never shaken his hand. I was in the room when he came in Tampa to meet with the local media. I didn't ask a question. I was in the room when he did the big ballroom at Tampa. But his introductory press conference when I was sitting here on the air, and then he doesn't talk at practice, and they always have press conferences when I can't be there because I'm on doing the show. I never talked to him. I don't know him at all. But I believe from what I've heard and read that he wants approval. And if he does, then two things have to happen. I've mentioned this back in the summer, but the summer is not our most listened to time of year. If he wants approval and he wants people to look and go, you know, he's probably right, which is unlikely, but if he wants that to happen, he needs to win big at LSU. Big. But that's only half of it. Ole Miss has got to fall off. If Ole Miss goes 8-4 this year and 7-5 the next year and 4-8 the next year, because Pete Golding wasn't the guy for the job and they don't recruit to the level they need to and their offense can't score under John David Baker and they fall off a cliff, and LSU soars to heights, then everybody will go, oh, well, he was right. He was propping up Ole Miss. He thought that this was his chance to get to LSU. He hated that he had to leave a championship caliber team on their march toward a championship, but he knew the long-term play was always going to be at LSU, so that's why he left. It sucked at the time. It was a messy exit, but there was no real clean way to do it because Ole Miss wasn't going to let him coach. He had to go, and then it was right because Ole Miss has a ceiling and LSU doesn't. That's the only way people are going to ease off of this. And oh, by the way, he'll have to stop making crazy remarks on Twitter. He'll need to stop doing Vanity Fair stuff and just brag on LSU and leave Ole Miss in the past. Now, what are the odds of all that stuff happening? I don't know. Everyone's opinion's different. I think that he's going to win a lot of games at LSU. Championships are hard to forecast, but I think he's going to win a lot of games at LSU. And I think I would sell Ole Miss football stock right now. Not because it's going to plummet, because I don't think they're going 11-1 this year. And I don't think they're going 11-1 next year. And I don't think they're going to be in the semifinals of the college football playoff anytime soon. That's my opinion. Could be dead wrong. Didn't think Indiana was going to national championship 2 years ago, and here we are. But that's my opinion. But I also think Lane is going to get back on social media, and I think he's going to make comments. I think he's going to say things that rub people the wrong way. And as long as that doesn't impact LSU, who cares? Here in Baton Rouge. Show me the scoreboard. Show me the scoreboard. That's it. And I think the scoreboard is going to reflect positively on LSU as time goes on. But yes, he is a villain. But the only reason you've got to care about that in Baton Rouge is if it impacts recruiting. And based on people that you talk to in that building that have played for him, that have coached for him, that have interviewed him, that have seen him in action behind closed doors, the guy on Twitter and the guy in press conferences is not necessarily the same as the guy who does the recruiting. He has a way of turning it on when he needs to. And I think that's evidenced in the guys that LSU is able to bring in. Now, they're throwing a lot of money around, and that helps too. But it sounds like he's not necessarily the villain all the time. It's just kind of when he chooses to be. But if you're looking for the court of public opinion to do a 180 on Lane Kiffin, don't hold your breath. But if you feel like it doesn't matter because he's going to win a lot of football games here, then you're in line with me. And I think he's going to be just fine. By the way, the number one guy on this list is Steve Spurrier. How'd he do? Won a national title, revolutionized the Southeastern Conference, was incredible at South Carolina, all the while being a guy that everybody didn't really like because he was brash and arrogant and scored a bunch of points and didn't care what people thought. So Will Wade doesn't care if people think. He's just going to recruit and put teams together. And I don't think Kiffin does either. I don't think the LSU fans do either. I think the excitement level's through the roof in this town to see what Lane Kiffin can do in Baton Rouge. So that's a look at Ryan McGee's all-time villains in the history of college football with Lane Kiffin, number 2, behind Steve Spurrier. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We'll come back and wrap it up. Can you lose the press conference? You can. It happened today. We'll tell you about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power, GoTrosOnline.com, GoTrosOnline.com. Look, get on by in August. Into the summer means clearance sale. And so if you're looking for a zero-turn mower, GoTro's Outdoor Power has you covered. Up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero turns, and 0.0 financing is available as well. Again, up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero-turn mowers, and a 0% financing agreement available as well. 2 locations, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge. You'll see the huge orange inventory, biggest Hustler inventory in the state right there. You can check them out in Gonzales as well. The GoTro family's been at this for 22 years. If you've got a property to manage, if your lease on your mower is coming up, or you need a new one, or you've just gotten a new property that you got to maintain, and you need that new zero-turn mower as the summer comes to a close, it's one call, one visit. It's GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're online at GoTrosOnline.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor of the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I'm going to give you Sean Segura's number at the end of this read. So if you want to change the way you buy your beef, get that phone out and get ready to save it. Because Sagrera Farms has got some of the best beef in the country. Sean has mastered this craft. It started as a labor of love. It's actually turned into a bit of a business, but he's just really good at it. And the Palmers have a lot of Sagrera Farm beef in the freezer currently. It's changed the way we do beef. You know that herd levels are the lowest since the 60s, and the population has obviously grown since then. So you've got a supply and demand issue, and that has driven up the price of beef. So if you're paying premium price, why not get a premium product? Prime Angus beef from Sagrera Farms. Never going to be using antibiotics improperly, never going to be using steroids. And when you buy half a cow, a whole cow, quarter cow, you're getting one DNA. Do you know how many DNA are in that pack of beef that you buy? Could be thousands. Not at Sagrera Farms, it's one. And it's going to be prime every single time. That IMF score, 0 to 3, you're looking at select. That's the bottom of the barrel. That choice, which is 60% of beef, is 3 to 8 on that scale. Anything north of 8, 9 plus, is prime. Sean's got cows on the farm right now, 12, 14, 16, 18. And there's only two places to get it. Supper Club or Sagrera Farms. So call Sean, 225-719-1723. That's 225-719-1723. And ask him about that beef. Go see the farm. It'll change the way you do burgers, change the way you do steaks, ribeyes, fillets, strips, flank steaks, skirt steaks, picanhas, chuck roasts, briskets. All prime. It's awesome stuff. Sagrera Farms brings you our Thursday shows each and every day. Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef. All right, as I mentioned in the last segment, or 2 segments ago, I should say, LSU practices 6:35 tonight. You can catch our practice report up at LouisianaSports.net tonight. We'll talk about it on tomorrow's show. Preston Guy will stop by as well. The Saints have a day off tomorrow, so we will catch up with them tomorrow, and then you can catch Ross Jackson's practice reports up at LouisianaSports.net as well. They are incredibly detailed and always free. So appreciate him for making those happen, and y'all for checking them out as the rate that you have. Been a fun show. There's only one thing left to do, and that's take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it or leave it. Let's hear from Purdue's new athletic director here, because I've heard this sound and I just wanted to play it in this segment. So keep in mind, Purdue hired a new AD. He took the podium. And if you're not aware, Purdue and Indiana are huge rivals. So this is Purdue's athletic director somehow, some way, finding a way to lose the press conference.
Every recruit, every current student athlete will hear this message repeatedly. We are here to win championships. If you don't want to win championships, go to Indiana.
Oh, no. I'm going to leave that one.
Just leave it alone.
Right where it is.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I was just going to let it just breathe.
I just don't. What in the world are you talking about? I understand.
Purdue.
When you take a job, you want to throw in something. If you take the Ohio State job, we're coming for Michigan.
Yeah, you got to hype the crowd up. Yeah, hype the fan base.
Paul Maneri, I watched his introductory press conference at South Carolina.
Yeah.
He said, good thing I'm here in the low country instead of upstate, which is a shot at Clemson.
Okay.
It's something they tell you to do when you take the job, okay? Yeah. But do it in a different way. If you're Purdue, your basketball team's been better than Indiana's for a while.
Yeah.
Talk about that. You cannot say if you don't want to win championships, go to Indiana when they just completed the most improbable football season in the history of the sport, went 15-0, boat raced everybody in their path. You just look like a clown. You look so bad. This was supposed to be a shot at Indiana, and now Indiana can just look at you and go, what are you, an idiot?
Yeah, we're not on the same level
Are
no
you
more.
an idiot? That is unbelievably tone deaf. You get a layup at this press conference.
Yeah.
No one is going to ask you a difficult question press conference at the AD's press conference. It's a complete layup, and he just fell flat on his face. And that is unbelievable.
I don't even want to say a layup. It feels like he got blocked off the glass. Like he went up with the layup and he's got swatted off the rim like LeBron or something.
Just awful.
Polish swimmer Bartholomew Klopczyk,
good try.
Has become the first person to cross the Baltic Sea without swimming or taking a break, raising more than $2,500,000 for charity. He started his track back on July 31st and completed the journey in 55 hours later. He has become the first person to swim 160 kilometers, basically 99 miles, across the Baltic Sea from Sweden to Poland. So swimming 99 miles with no breaks, take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I meant to leave it, but I was too concerned, honestly, with that is scary.
Yeah.
Not only is it impossible for me to even consider doing that and swimming that far is terrifying. There's some stuff in the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't want any part of that. So
you don't know
I'm
what's
glad
below
that he
you.
raised $250K, and that's something he can take with him forever, that he's the first guy to do that. I'm out on all that. I don't even want to jump in the water and then climb out.
You know how cold that water probably was, though?
I'm out.
I'll
I'll swim in the lake. I'm not scared of, I don't harbor fear of sharks when I go out there in Destin or wherever. Swimming 99 miles in the wide open ocean,
no help.
That ain't happening.
No help, no type of life vest, nothing. You just out there. So LSU great. Odell Beckham Jr. strung together his second straight strong day at practice today with the New York Giants as Odell's trying to revive his career with the Giants. So can OBJ add some value to the receiver room for the Giants? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He's going to be cheap, and if you're going to cut him, cut him. It's there could be value. I'm not suggesting it's a guarantee.
Yes.
But it's worth a try. He's obviously been in the league a while. As long as he's not doing anything crazy, which Odell can do at times. I think it's fine.
And Malik's still there, so a little LSU connection.
Flavor, we like that.
All right, so Country Day School of Baton Rouge, take it or leave it.
Take it all day long. Big day for the Palmer family. 4.5 years ago, Alyssa went to work for the first time after having Myers, and we dropped Myers' man at Country Day School there on North, and she cried a lot, and it was the first day. And he's been there 4.5 years, and it has been an absolute joy. And today is his last day at Country Day School. We start big boy school tomorrow with the meet and greet, and then on Tuesday he'll start. So no more daycare for the Myers man, but it's been just incredible. Thankfully, Keller is there for the next couple of years as well. But started in Miss Reva's room, Miss D's room, Miss Frida's room, Miss Valentina's room, Miss Maritz's room, Miss Alicia's room, Miss Faith's room. Just an incredible school that's taken care of our boy over the years, and we're so appreciative of that. It's tough to leave your kiddo in the supervision of other people. And it's been an incredible blessing in Myers' life and ours life to have them. So sad day in a way. today that he'll leave for the last time. I'm about to go pick him up, and we'll take pictures and all that. We took pictures this morning. Alyssa and I wore the same clothes. It's the same day that we dropped Myers for the first time. But it'll be a good day. We'll still be going back every day to drop Keller off and pick him up, but Myers will be done with Country Day School, and we just thank them a ton, and I wanted to give them a little shout out on this small little platform I have here for an incredible 4+ years with the Myers man. He'll head on off to big school, but Country Day's got a special place in our heart and always will. Still a couple more years for Keller, but shout out to the Myers man and Country Day School. I wanted to do that at the end of the show. So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
That's it.
Awesome. That's it for our show today here on this Thursday. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Open the show today with some sound from Lane Kiffin just talking about Sam Levitt and his ramp up this year as he gets into his first and really probably only camp at LSU. Luke Johnson with us from Saints Camp. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Talked about the Ole Miss lawsuit against Prince William Unmiel and Devin Harper and how I've changed my tune on that just a little bit. Where's Easton Royal headed coming up this fall? Well, we talked about that at the end of hour number 1. A little bit of sound from Kellen Moore and what I'm looking for at practice tonight. All that on demand wherever you find your sound. Hunt Palmer Show. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR. See you tomorrow.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. A closet space is not something I really considered at all when I bought my first house. And I didn't care until the girlfriend, fiance, then to be wife moved in and goes, what are we doing here? Where do we put all the stuff? I didn't know. Turns out we had stuff crammed into closets in the hallway, stuff crammed into the attic, stuff in boxes, stuff in the kids' room. So we didn't call One Bath and Closets because we knew we were moving. But you don't have to move to revitalize your closet space. And when we did prioritize closet space in the move, it's been a total game changer. If you want a custom closet built to your specifications that looks great and functions exactly the way you need it to, call David Duvall. It might be that time into summer to make that call and make that happen. Have that free consultation. Financing options are available. Check them out online. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.